Today, we're diving straight into something pretty significant, a big shift happening with Ordnance Survey data.
A really major change, actually. OS is moving away from, well, what they're now calling their legacy products
Right.
and towards their National Geographic Database, the NGD. Think of it as a kind of central hub, an upgrade for all their location info for Great Britain.
And this isn't just some minor update happening in the background, is it? Ordnance Survey is actively moving all its core authoritative data. The data so many services rely on.
Yeah, the transition is meant to be complete by 2029, so it's underway now.
And it sounds like a fundamental shift. Like, it changes more than just where the data lives.
Absolutely. It's not just a database swap. It really alters how organizations, maybe even individuals, access and use location intelligence. It opens up new capabilities, definitely.
Well, it also means potential disruption. People will need to adapt.
Okay, that's key. So if OS data is part of your world, you really need to understand this. So our mission today in this deep dive is basically to unpack the NGD.
Yep. What it is, what it offers.
Okay, let's get into it then. What exactly is this OS National Geographic Database, the NGD?
Okay, so simply put, the OS NGD is now the single sort of unified source for all of Ordnance Survey's official location data for Great Britain.
All of it in one place.
Pretty much. Instead of data being scattered across different products, different data sets, now it's consolidated and it's constantly being updated. It's meant to be a much, much more streamlined way to get that location intelligence.
And when you say, we're talking about a serious amount of data here. The NGD currently holds over 500 million geographical features.
So why do this? Why consolidate? What's the main benefit for users compared to, the older way of getting OS data?
I think the biggest win for users is precision. Instead of grabbing these large prepackaged data sets, maybe with lots of stuff you don't need, the NGD lets you select very specific features and even specific attributes of those features.
Right.
So you target just the info you care about. That means, hopefully, faster access, quicker analysis, and less time wrestling with data you didn't want in the first place.
Okay, so how is all this structured? 500 million features. It must be complex to allow that kind of pinpoint selection.
It is detailed, but it's logical. Think of it like 9 main themes, big categories,
Right.
Things like address, buildings, land use, transport, water, those sorts of areas. Then, within each theme, you have collections of related features.
What about the data itself? Is it just the old data repackaged, or is there new stuff, more detail?
That's where it gets really interesting. Since it launched, they've been adding a lot more richness to the data.
Like what?
Well, take buildings. The NGD now has much more detailed building footprints. It's not just the shape, but attributes, like the primary use. Is it commercial, residential? Plus, things like a unique ID for sites with multiple buildings and even the number of addresses tied to a building.
And I saw something about roof data that sounded quite novel.
It is pretty cutting edge. They're using AI, artificial intelligence, to capture all sorts of new roof info.
Like what kind of info?
Things like the main material of the roof, whether it's got solar panels or even a green roof.
Really?
And the shape, flat or pitched, and even its orientation, the aspect.
Okay, definitely sounds like the NGD is the future and will keep growing. But the flip side is that older products, the ones people are used to, are going away. That's the disruption part.
That's the crucial point for existing users, yes. OS has a formal end-of-life plan for many legacy products.
Which ones?
Well, notices are already out, or have been, for things like OS Master Map Water Network Layer, Detailed Path Network.
So quite a few familiar names there.
Yes, and eventually many others will follow, including the current APIs and even the main OS Master Map Topography Layer itself.
Right, so the message is clear.
It is. If you're relying on those older products, you really need to start planning your transition to the NGD. Now is the time. And this is where, experienced OS partners like miso, for example, can really help organizations review what they're using and map out that move.
Okay, so for anyone listening who is using those legacy OS products, what's the key takeaway? What should they be doing now?
I think the main thing is to recognize that you probably will need to adapt. Your current ways of handling data, the methods you use to access it, they'll likely need to change.
While 2029, that final transition date, might seem a way off.
It's really not. In terms of planning major data system changes, understanding this shift, adapting to it now is pretty crucial for anyone who relies on accurate, up-to-date UK location data.
It really does make you think, doesn't it? With this kind of granular, timely data becoming available, what new things could you actually do? Definitely something to ponder.